I served with Jack Kennedy. I knew Jack Kennedy. Jack Kennedy was a friend of mine. Senator, you're no Jack Kennedy.
Well, that memorable line from one of the most significant vice presidential debates in history. Mike Pence and Tim Kaine preparing for their matchup in Virginia tomorrow night. But will their showdown change the presidential race? Let's bring in Alan Schroeder, professor of journalism at Northeastern University and the author of the book, Presidential Debates, Risky Business on the Campaign Trail. And we'll get to that in a moment. Professor, it's great to have you on the program. We just saw that line. We listened to that line. But do vice presidential debates ever impact the outcome?
Really, no. The answer is no. And we can see, because that clip that you just showed did not lead to a vice presidency for Lloyd Bentsen. Actually, Dan Quayle was the one who became the vice president there.
Why not? Why aren't they more impactful?
Well, you know, it's just that people don't tend to vote for the vice presidential part of the ticket. They really concentrate on what's at the top of the ticket. So the VP debates are good theater. They're often really entertaining, and they're kind of good for scouting the future of the candidates, you know, as we think about their careers down the line. But they really don't tend to influence the vote. But,
Professor, one of the things we've been talking about is how unpopular both major candidates from the major parties are. So do you think this year perhaps the vice presidents could play more of a role simply because of that fact?
Possibly, although it's interesting how much they really haven't been drawing a lot of media attention. You know, I think what happens when you have really strong personalities like Trump and Clinton is that that's where the focus goes, that's where the attention goes. And so this could be one of those years where, you know, the vice presidential debate ends up not being nearly as well watched as the presidentials.
I'm curious about the title of your book. Again, Presidential Debates, Risky Business on the Campaign Trail. What makes them risky business?
Well, it's risky because it's live TV, and as you well know from working in live TV, you know, anything can go wrong, and often does. So for candidates who are so used to being choreographed and under control all the time, you know, they're suddenly in this situation that they can't control at all. So they put themselves at a lot of risk, and you know, we saw the other night with Donald Trump that did not exactly go the way that his handlers probably wanted it to.
Live television is crazy, that's for sure. So far, it's going well for us, though, which is a great thing. Talk to us a little bit about the news cycle, especially with your background in journalism. Because of all this when I say all this, the coverage over the tax returns for Donald Trump, that happening before the presidential debate, and then we, of course, have another major debate not far away for both main candidates. How do you think that will impact tomorrow, and what are you going to be watching for?
Yeah, definitely I think that the tax issue will be raised during the debate. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't. But you know what happens in a vice presidential debate is that they're really not debating each other. They're debating against the top of the ticket, the people who aren't there. You know, so Kaine's going to be debating against Trump, and Pence is going to be debating against Clinton. And then, of course, as you say, Sunday night we have Clinton and Trump back in a town hall format. Very different feel from what we saw last week, you know, with the citizens asking the questions. But yeah, I think it'll be very hard for some of these issues that are on the table right now to be avoided.
This must be an exciting time for you, considering your work.
Yeah, it is. It's been a lot of fun. It always is. But this year particularly, I mean, that 84 million people watching that first debate, that's a real landmark in this history of presidential debates.
It is a historic year, as we so often say, but now we actually have the numbers to prove it. Professor, great to have you on the program. We look forward to having you back.
Thanks, Jana.
And stay with the Fox News Channel tomorrow all day and all night for complete coverage leading up to the one, the only vice presidential debate. The matchup between Senator Tim Kaine and Governor Mike Pence will be live from Longwood University in Farmville, Virginia. And for all the reasons the professor just stated, it certainly is one to watch.